In fact, I think if you guys didn't write down that word that she said that she totally just made up, was amazing. Fun tangible. You should write that down. It was great. So you've heard us kind of walk through what our 4 non-negotiables were. Now, I want to kind of cast a little bit of vision for you for what that means for us in the future. I want to tell you everything that we've talked about right now, but it will probably be something completely different in 3 or 4 months. Because we're trying to work out these ideas, and that's what I wanted you guys to understand, is that just like Heather was saying, you guys have ownership. In fact, I just want you guys to all point at yourselves and say, I'm the most important person in Freedom Kids, because you are. You know that? Like, it's not Jordan, it's not Heather, it's not Caleb, it's not Maddie. Here's the reality. The reality is the 4 of us, we're background players. We're on the bench, so to speak. You guys are in the game. And so I want you to know how important you are to Freedom Kids, because we're not. You are the most important people in Freedom Kids. And so because of that, you have great sway and influence in the lives of kids. I want people to get more excited about seeing Amber, about seeing Paula, about seeing Jordan, about seeing you guys, Tiffany. When you guys are there, I want kids to get more excited about seeing you than they are about seeing me. And honestly, that's where we're going. I see kids get so excited, and they don't even know who I am. They just walk right by, and I'm like, okay, that was really sad. I try to get a high five, just gone. And you know what? I'm okay with that. It's hard sometimes. Sometimes I'm not okay with that. But most of the time, I'm okay with that. And so I want you guys to know that it's very, very important that you understand that this is a we mentality, that we're trying to figure this out, and we want you to be a part of it with us. And we're all in it together. And that's what I like about figuring out what we're going to do in the future, is that now all of these ideas can kind of be, like we said earlier, the filters that we're pushing all of these new directions that we're going in. I can tell you some really cool things that we've already put in place. Obviously, the preschool worship is a huge piece that we're trying to make work, and we want to see happen in the very near future. We also have a resource team, which is going to come along, and we're going to start putting a team in place that helps us create resources and helps us put things together, like the lessons, like the crafts, like the things that really are very time-intensive, but not just time-intensive. They're very, very important to what we do. They're basically the props for our stories. So we can't tell a dynamic and engaging story unless we have a prop. And so it gives us the abilities and the resources that we need to make that happen. And so like we said, we're trying to structure for that. But think about this. Guys, how long have we been in 2 campuses? Less than a year. Less than a year. Imagine that. Does anyone else feel like it's been 3 years since we've had 2 campuses? Yes, it does. Well, if you're in Kennesaw, you definitely feel like it's been 3 years. If you're not, but think about it. It did not take that long for us to get a second campus off the ground. And here's the reality. If I know Pastor JR, and I don't know him as well as most, but I've been here for 3 years, I can tell you that we're going to have more than 2 campuses in the very near future. And so because of that, I want to be sure to be looking ahead and be preparing us for what God has prepared for us. We have to continue to put jars in our houses. And that means that for you guys, that means making this a we mentality. That means it's not just Jordan and Caleb and Maddie and Heather recruiting. It's you recruiting. It means that we're not just coming up with ideas creatively. That's where that feedback idea comes back in. It's where you guys have to help us create ideas, because we're not the boots on the ground. We're not playing the game. We're just on the bench. And sometimes the coach needs a player to tell him how the game's going. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why it's really, really important that you guys are giving us that feedback. But I can tell you one thing, and I'll really stop talking, but this thing that we're working on right now, as we're moving forward and as we're figuring out how these non-negotiables play into our strategy, is going to be something that changes our staff radically, the directions that we're going right now. Every role that we have right now could be radically changed if we applied all these concepts in the way that we want to. And it's also going to set us up to an area where you are going to be challenged more to volunteer. And that's hard for us, because some of you may be really scared by that. You're like, look, Jordan, I'm already doing enough. You don't even understand. Like, I'm at my max. And you know what? What I found out is that when I say that I'm at my max, somehow God finds a way to push me a little bit further. You know, and what's cool about that is that we grow. We grow together. Some of you guys are sitting in this room, you're going to be on staff one day, in Freedom Kids staff. Like, I'm telling you, the honest truth, that's true. It's going to happen. And so because of that, we want to make sure that we're always raising the bar. We're always pushing you guys a little bit further. And if we change the way our staff works and we pull them up into a higher level of leadership, then that means that what happens to the volunteers that are reporting to them? Higher level of leadership. Just like they say a rising tide brings all the ships up. Just that's exactly what's going to happen. And so I want to prepare you guys for that because it's happening. It's going to happen very fast, and it's going to happen in the like it's just like another campuses in the very close and not so distant future. And so I hope you guys are excited. I hope that those things are. I hope that you can at least pick one of those things and say, I learned something in that category. And if you can do that, I want you to try to apply something that you learned today on Sunday. Apply one of those things that you learned. Maybe it was, I want to be more of a consistent voice in the lives of the kids that are in my classroom. Or maybe it's, I want to be a little bit more excited because Bible stories aren't boring. Or maybe it was, this is how I understand how freedom partners with families, so I'm going to make it more intentional. I want to make it my purpose to partner with parents better. I want to have a conversation with just pick one parent and have a conversation with them. Or maybe it's, I understand my role as a volunteer because I'm the most important person in the room, and I'm the most important influence in the life of this child, so I'm going to do whatever it takes to make sure that I'm doing that. And so understanding how all those four things work together will change drastically how you serve on a Sunday. And we want it to. We want those things to be important because they're, like we said, that's the lens that we're going to be making changes. That's where we're going to be going. And we want you to be on the bus with us. And we hope that you're excited about what's getting ready to come.